right, so we have 4.4 into 75, or 75 divided by 4.4. And by the way, just for fun, everybody, write down that this is actually 75 over 4.4. It also can be written 75 divided by 4.4. So let's just get that straight. So there's three different ways of writing it. So this is the kind of, we're about to do some long division, so we have it written there, right? But the trick is, when you're dividing a decimal in, you've got to get rid of the decimal in the divisor. So we do this magic trick where we take this decimal point and we move it over here. And we take the decimal point up to 75, and we also move that over the same amount of spaces, which in this case is move it over one space. And so now, instead of 4.4 into 75, we have 44 into 750, right? Okay, so but what I want you all to write down, anyone watching from home, is look, write this 75 over 4.4 and then multiply that by 10 over 10 and tell me what you got. If you multiply that by 10 over 10, what would you get?
750 over 44.
Beautiful, yeah. And so 750 over 44 is the same thing as 75 over 4.4. Does that make sense? So these are equivalent fractions. They're equivalent fractions. Let me just take this out of the way. Sorry. And they will give this, they're the same quantity. They will give the same result. So whether we divide 4.4 into 75 or 44 into 750, we're going to get the same result. I mean, maybe that's more obvious if you have something easy, like let's say, 10 over 2, right? Or sorry, 10, let's say 30 over 2, right? Which is 15, right? But if I multiply that by 10 over 10, I would get what? We get 300, right, over 20, right? Which is the same thing as 30 over 2. Either way, the answer is going to be 15. That's 15, that's 15, right? Right. But so we can do that. We can take fractions, we can multiply them by 10 over 10, we can get a new fraction. It's the same quantity though. It looks different, but it's the same quantity, right? Anyway, so that's the most important step, and now we just do some long division, right? So the problem with long division is how are your 44 times tables? I mean, we usually memorize our multiplication tables up to 10 or 12, but not up to 44, right? So I don't know my 44 times tables, but I can estimate. So first thing I do is I go, okay, 44 into 7 won't go for sure, right? I'll just cover this with my finger. And then I go, okay, well, 44 into 75 goes how many times? And, well, in my head I'm thinking, okay, well, what's two 44s? Like, 44 times 2 would be 88, right? So it's probably going to go one time, right? Right. So another trick is you could cross off, you could just cover the 50 and cover that 4 as well. And think to yourself, well, what's 4 into 7, 4 to 7 is 1. So this is another problem. So there's two big problems with long division. One is moving the decimal point over, and the other is trying to figure out, well, what the heck am I going to put up here, But at the end of the day, just if you make a mistake, so what? Just scratch it out and start over. Because like if you put a 2 up there, and then all of a sudden you had this. So let's say you did this. Okay, 750. Let's say you put a 2 up here, and you go, okay, 88. Well, hold on a second. 88 is more than 75, so that didn't work. So, okay, fine. I'll just try a 1 instead. You know what I mean? Like, it's not the end of the world to make a bad guess. So, anyway. 1 times 44, that goes there, and now we subtract. You okay with that?
Yeah.
Okay. 5 minus 4, 1. 7 minus 4, 3. And 44 should not go into this. This is like your remainder, and that should be less than 44, which it is. So now we bring down the 0 here, and now we go 44 into 310. And again, Let's make a guess. I don't know my 44 times tables. Maybe you guys do. I don't. I'm just going to hold this 4 over here. I'm going to round that down to 4. I'm going to round this down to 31. And I'm going to say, well, what's 4 into 31? Let's just do that. Let's just do 4 into 31 and make a guess, right?
Maybe 7.
Right, about 7, right? So let's guess that. 7, right? You could even do it over here. Some students like to do that. 44 times 7 multiplied over here. Same thing. Right? 7 times 4, 28, carry 2. 7 times 4, 28 and 2, 30. And now subtract. Right. Now, 44 should not go into 2. It doesn't. Great. We should bring down a 0. There's no 0 here to bring down, though, because it says we've got to round to the nearest hundredth. And we're not at the nearest hundredth. So we need to get 17 point, and then, you know, we need like a digit here, and then another digit. In fact, we need to get as far as 3 digits so we can round up to the nearest hundredth. So we've got to get 2 more spaces, right? So we've got to do more work to get to the nearest hundredth. So what do you think we should do to keep going on it?
Put a decimal and add zeros.
Yeah, we can write 750 as 750.000, right? And keep seeing what happens. So bring down this 0 that we just created. Because that's fine, because look, 750 is the same thing as 750 point 000, right? So bring this 0 down, and now it's 44 into 20. Goes how many times?
0.
And we actually put that 0 up there. Right?
Okay.
When we go through the process, 0 times 44 is 0. Subtract that and see what you get. Lovely, yep. And now 44 should not go into that. It doesn't. That's good. Now what do we do?
Find 200 divided by 44.
Yep. Bring down another 0. Bring that guy down. And now it's 44 into 200. And again, I don't know my 44 times tables. I'm going to just block off the 0 there. I'm going to block off that 4. I'm going to go, okay, what's 4 into 20?
5.
5. Should we guess 5? Or should we guess something else?
Yeah, 44 times 5 is 220.
Right. So we ought to guess a little lower than 5. Because if it was 40 into 200, 5 would be an excellent guess. But it's a little bit more. Right, so it's going to go in a little bit less. So that's I'm just going to guess 4 there, right? If you guessed 5 again, it wouldn't matter. You'd go, oh, there's a mistake, and then you just do it. You know, if you got a pencil, just rub it out and put in a 4 instead, right? In any case, 4 times 4, 16. Carry 1. 4 times 4, 16, and 1 is 17. Subtract.
I get 24.
Yep, it's good. Yep, there's 10. Borrow, that becomes 1. That becomes like a 10. Borrow, that becomes a 9. That becomes a 10. 10 minus 6 is 4. 9 minus 7 is 2. Yep, and now 44 into 24 doesn't go. That's good. And even though it says round to the nearest hundredth, so we have to get to the nearest hundredth, which is this decimal position, this decimal place, right? We actually should figure out what the thousandth is, because if the thousandth is like a 5 or more, we'd have to round up, and it would be 17.05. If the thousandth is 4 or less, we're going to round down to 17.04. So we don't know actually, is the answer this or this? We're not sure, right? See what I mean? So that's why we have to keep going to the nearest thousandth so that we know which way to round it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Right. So that's why I got to bring this 0 down and keep going. Now it's 44 into 240, and take a guess.
Okay, 44 times 6 is 26, no, it'd be 5, 44 times 5 is 20.
That's a good guess, because again, if I block this 4 off, and I just went 4 into 24, that would be 6 times. Right, 4 into 24 is 6 times. But that's a little high, because like it's 44, not 40. Like 40 into 240 would be 6, that's perfect. But it's a little bit more. So therefore it goes in this a little bit less. So 5 is a good guess. If you guess 6 though, not a problem. 5 times 4, 20, carry 2. 5 times 4, 20, and 2, 22. Subtract, remainder 20. And we can go on forever actually. But the question is, what point should we stop? And again, the question said, round to the nearest hundredth. That's the nearest hundredth. We found that there's a digit of 5 after the 4. So should we round up or should we round down?
Round up.
Round up to 17.05. Holy moly, I'm sorry for giving you all so much work to do on this question. One question, huh? So it's not 17.04, it's 17.05, right? There's a lot in that. There's a move to decimal points, understanding equivalent fractions, long division, adding on the decimal places, lots of mental arithmetic to guess, and then some rounding. Lots of skills in one question. So well done everybody for getting that done. Good job.